Halloween morning, 1981, Sister Angela Martinez of the St. Francis Convent in Amarillo, Texas, found a shocking scene. She found 76-year-old Sister Tadea Benz dead on the floor, nude and with her arms outstretched by her side. First, it was thought that she died of natural causes, and they didn't get spooked. The nuns then proceeded to wrap her body in a sheet and even clean up some blood spots on the floor. They just assumed that was from a fall that caused her death. That was until Sister Florentine noticed a broken window later on, realizing that a break-in had happened, and she then called the police. When the police arrived, it was quickly determined that this was a homicide and that it wasn't a natural death. When her autopsy was performed, they found that Sister Tadea had been manually strangled to death after she was beaten and raped. She suffered from external bleeding and severe internal trauma from the forced rape that happened upon her. Now, one important thing to know about Sister Tadea is that she was very hard of hearing, so she wouldn't have been able to hear her perpetrator when they broke in. I mean, at the age of 76 years old, it's quite common for you to have, be hard of hearing. Well, as police continue to investigate the crime scene, they find fingerprints all over knives at the convent, knives that were found all over, including a knife found under the bed and in Sister Tadea's bed linens. They also find out that there was a man running from the scene, running from the convent that night of the murder. This man is someone that could see the convent every day. Johnny Garrett, aged 17, lived across the street from the convent. The police would investigate the fingerprints found on knives in the house, and they would eventually arrest Garrett on November 9th of 1981. When his trial started, his lawyer presented evidence of him being a teenager and that he feared his dark secrets. So him being that just very traumatized teenager. He was afraid his sexual abuse that he endured when he was a child would come to light and that his personal trauma from this also helped present his personality disorder that he suffered from. His psychiatrist was quite open about his psychological issues during his trial, but unfortunately his luck would not help him. Eventually he was found guilty of murder and sentenced to death. Now his original execution date was January 6th of 1992, but he received clemency from Pope John Paul II and was given a temporary reprieve by the governor of Texas, Ann Richards. And after this reprieve, his case was heard by the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles. They argued about whether or not his death sentence should be commuted to life in prison. His death sentence was retained ultimately. He would go on to be examined by Dr. Dorothy Otnow Lewis, and she was then able to determine that he indeed did suffer from multiple personality disorder as a result of his abuse at the hands of his mother and of his grandparents at a young age. Now, a fun fact, his last meal he asked for was actually ice cream. He wanted something sweet and simple for his last meal before his death. He would then be executed at the age of 28 in the Huntsville unit on February 11th of 1992. His death sentence was that of lethal injection. What are your thoughts about this crime? Leave them in the comments down below. I would love to know what you have to think, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye, guys.